All right, hello Gnomes team, parents and students. It's Mr. H here on a very wet Friday afternoon. It's always when carpool's starting, always. So anyway, just wanted to give you a heads up here on the 25th day of September, what's been happening in social studies and what will happen in our next 3 days. So here we go. First things first, today students took a short quiz dealing with mostly the Maya, the Inca, the Aztec. It had to do with the Columbian exchange some. And students did that in class. I hope to start grading it here presently, and hopefully I will have that finished so that the students can see what their average is when they come back to school on Monday. Fingers crossed I can get that finished. Now, as I hope you now know, grades have already locked, so any assignments we do from this point on would go on to the second quarter average. This test, or this quiz, excuse me, it would be a great example of that. So students that will get their results back hopefully on Monday will find that that score will go in for their second quarter, won't change their results for first quarter. Then, also, a couple of things we've been working on. We've been working on this Maya Inca Aztec project, and this is an example that I did that's kind of what one could look like, not saying it should look like, and not certainly saying that that's perfect, but that's one example of what it kind of looks like with a branch for the Maya, a branch for the Inca, and then a branch for the Aztec over there, and then some of the similarities that those three groups had kind of working the trunk. They did not have to make a tree. That was the default. They could figure out some other assignment. We do have some students who are finished. If they're finished, they should have this yellow sheet attached to it so I can grade it. That project is due on Wednesday, the 30th. Some students are already finished with it. They had 2 work days in class Wednesday and Thursday, so they had a lot of work time in class to work on it. They can also work on it during Spartan time. We didn't have Spartan time today because of a PBIS refresh, but they have Monday and Tuesday in Spartan time, or they can take it home. They get no more time in class to work on it. So ask your student if they're finished, and if so, they think it's their best work, and if not, how are they going to get it finished by Wednesday? Due on Wednesday the 30th, that'll be another assignment that grade will go in for the second quarter. We don't want to have it left over track out. We want that thing finished. So what's going to happen next week? Next week we are going to start talking, and we did a little bit today, talking about Mesopotamia, the Sumerians, and talk about the Fertile Crescent, that kind of band of land that goes between the Mediterranean and the Persian Gulf, where there was one of the first civilizations, the Sumerian group, what we today call Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers. So what we're going to be working on a little bit next week is we're going to watch a video on Monday that's called From Nomads to Farmers, which is that kind of idea of them settling down and staying in one place between those rivers. I did just assign a question set to Google Classroom. That's going to go with the video that we're going to do on Monday. So if students get into Google Classroom or they get an alert that says there's a new assignment, they won't be able to do that assignment until Monday. We'll watch the video in class on Monday, and then they'll be able to do that assignment on Google Classroom. This is my first attempt at it, so it's a bit of a just practice, really. There's 14 questions that go with the video, and they can do it on the classroom device, or they can figure out a way to do it at another place, or even on paper. But this is more just to see if I can figure out how this Google Classroom thing all works. So anyway, that's what that is. I don't need to do anything with it until after we watch the video on Monday. We will then talk a little bit about our friend Hammurabi and his code, and understand a little bit about writing laws down, and kind of assess his set of laws, and then compare it a little bit to our Bill of Rights, do some work on turning it into sixth grader language. That's always kind of fun to read these primary documents. Even translated primary documents can be challenging. We are also going to do the first half of the 6th grade benchmark on Tuesday. That would be the 29th. Now, we're only going to do the first half because we haven't quite gotten through our Egypt section of our unit, and that test has Egypt on it, so we'll do that when we track back in. Benchmark for social studies is going to act more as a diagnostic tool. I'm not going to take it as a grade that goes in the grade book. I'm just going to use that result as a way to kind of assess what's going on in class, how well students are getting it, and what areas maybe we need to work on. So that assessment will be about 13 questions long. It'll be on Tuesday. It's multiple choice only. Shouldn't be all that difficult. It's all information we've already covered from geography and into the early Americas. There's a little bit of Mesopotamia and Egypt on it, but we're going to take that piece when we get back when track out, and we've done a little bit more studying of the Egyptians. So anyway, that's what's kind of going on this last couple of days of track out. Hopefully you have a lovely wet weekend. I think it's going to rain all weekend. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks very much.